Welcome back to Let's Play Metroid Other M, and today is our grand finale. Last time we ran around collecting a lot of items, and I'm 100% on every area even, except for the main sector. And in the main sector there is one item I do not have, and it's that one right there. Now, the reason we can't get to that one, as I mentioned before, is because the elevator is actually broken. This elevator, upon getting in it, will take you up. The elevator doesn't work. In fact, this elevator and this elevator both do not work, locking off a very small section of the map right here. That's the only part of the game that's locked off in Postgame. But it's not completely locked off. Last time I killed the dude who was guarding this door, and this door is our means of getting to that area. You see, not only is this small area locked off, but it's also our only path to get to what we need to get to, which is the comm room that Adam was in. And this is the only way to get to that comm room. So put on your grown-up pants, because today we're walking into the end of Postgame. The end of Postgame, this is where you've got every item in the game, and they sort of expect you to have most, if not every item in the game. It's a very brief section, but it's a gauntlet. Here you're going to be fighting an assortment of some of the most powerful enemies in the game. Do your best to not get hit, but honestly, here, the charge beam and sense move are your friend. I wouldn't even recommend jumping too much, because the screw attack here isn't going to do much of good against these guys. Now, with only one of them left, you can just kind of pin him. Oh, dear. Yeah, they weren't the only guys around. By the way, there are also some of those invisible chameleons about. We haven't seen them for a while now. Okay, that's two more of these guys and the chameleon guy. You saw 3 enemies warp in. And the one shooting out that, the projectiles there, which the first time I went through I thought, did these guys just have an attack that I didn't know of? But no, the orb projectiles coming out are actually shot off by the chameleon. Okay, there. Took care of the guy on the ground. Now, of course, you may recall the only way to target the chameleons is to actually lock onto them, at which point they'll wake up, and they're really weak enemies because they were an early game, so you can just screw attack them. In fact, some of the enemies they throw you with in the gauntlet here, you can just screw attack. These guys you can't. However, this time you have the plasma beam, which is pretty good at piercing a defense. Ah, really? Oh, and more. However, these are just space pirates. Door lowers, and we can move on. One chief strategy I've heard of for this particular area is abusing power bombs. I'm not gonna say no. But I have a pretty decent amount of luck just screw attacking into everything. The weaker enemies, anyway, such as these guys. And then everything else just charge beam the crap out of them. A lot of the enemies, you'll actually even get smacked or caught out of position if you spend too much time in the air. Or the key hunters. And more space pirates. Now these guys, I don't think I can screw attack. No, I guess I can. Well, it makes my job easier. Now those couple of enemies weren't that bad. The first wave was pretty bad. After that, not so much. And then there's this guy. How you doing? Okay, he's strong enough you can't screw attack him, so that's good to know. You're going to be wanting to do a lot of what you had done previously. Even the lethal strike doesn't completely finish him off. But 2 super missiles will do it. Oh, and there's another one! Thankfully, you're powerful enough now. Oh yeah, don't jump on him, by the way, because he'll just knock you off. Your charge beam should hit him every now and then. Oh! And if you get the chance, super missiles will do him in pretty good, too. Yeah! And the door at the end of the hallway glows blue. Now, you're not actually locked in at this point. If you... Not only is there a save room here, but if you wanted to leave, you can, and then just go back and do whatever. Because we're coming up on the be-all and end-all of Postgame. An old friend we haven't seen since Super Metroid. Phantoon. Now, Phantoon will do a number of things. He'll shoot his signature blue fireballs at you. He'll summon these little hands that you'll want to put an effort into destroying. He'll break the glass, which thankfully lets you shoot him. Well, I guess you could shoot him with a wave anyway. You're going to be sense-moving pretty much this entire fight. Like, he very rarely, especially once he gets a little bit lower on health, he very rarely gives you a chance to stop and think for a second. Oh, and when he does this, he's about to stick his face right in here. Given the chance, I would really like to lock on to him. So now we have a health bar. You can manage to squeeze in a couple super missiles against him, but honestly, I would advise just using the charge shot. Just use the charge shot and sense move the crap out of everything, and get out of the fire. Why did he have to put that one in the middle of the arena? I'm walking here. Thankfully, the marks that he puts on the ground do go away over time. will, of course, summon more hands, so take a moment to deal with them. Oh, you can also, strike the hands. That's kind of cool. Whoa! His swiping with his arms actually isn't as big a deal as you think it would be. You can keep your eye open and actually just anticipate when they're coming when he rears back before doing them, but you're going to be spending so much time sense moving everything else that, to be honest, I'm usually in the middle of a sense move dodge anyway. Get rid of these hands! Get rid of the hand, dang it! There we go. Oh, he's weak! He's weak! Come here, you! On one hand, a lot of people will say that this game isn't actually that hard, but the very first time I played through this game, for me anyway, was very hard. I died a lot, and I felt as though they expected me to die a lot, which is why they'll usually put checkpoints in very easy-to-reach places. So if you die, you're not sent back to your save point. You're usually just sent back to the beginning of the room that you're in. In fact, when you're fighting the Queen Metroid at the end, there's a checkpoint during each of her phases. After you beat the Metroids and you're dealing with just the Queen, that's a checkpoint, and if you die, you just get sent back to there. So on one hand, you could say that they're willing to punish you a lot because they're willing to make punishment not nearly as big a deal. But I think also I've simply had a lot more time to get used to this game and get used to how this game plays, and more importantly, what this game expects of me. So I don't have nearly as big a problem with a lot of the difficulty in this game as I had the first time I played through. And that's open space, by the way, which is why the gravity feature is activated. Phantoon, by the way, yes, that was Phantoon, and this is the bridge where the entire ship was piloted and controlled and whatnot. There we go. Seal off that airlock. There are a lot of theories about what Phantoon actually is and why he was here, since there's not a lot of hard information given on what exactly Phantoon is. One theory is that he's brought about by Mother Brain's telepathy. And one thought is then that he is a creature that, similar to, say, Dragon and Kraid, that is part of the space pirate army and controlled by Mother Brain with the telepathy. The one theory that I like, this elevator, by the way, is that elevator. We're higher up, but it's that elevator. It was locked because it was way up here. And I guess locked so it couldn't go down. And now it's not even going down any further. But there's a crack in the glass. A power bomb crack in the glass. That elevator did not know what hit it. Yeah, we're not using this elevator anymore. And now we're at the top of the elevator prior. Where we were, where I said the elevator wouldn't go up, it usually comes up and stops here. And the one item that I'm missing is right here. That is 100%. That'll also let you get the other couple items, because there was 1 or 2 items in this room as well that you can now also get. Like there was the one that was up here. My favorite theory as to what Phantoon exactly is and why he was here is that he is a manifestation of the anger of lost souls and dead spirits. And the reason he manifested in wrecked ship in Super Metroid was because all the people that were on wrecked ship died and were sort of ticked off about it, and they all kind of congealed to make Phantoon there. The bottle ship here was a much larger facility than the wrecked ship in Super Metroid. Therefore, there were a lot more people to be brought in to make Phantoon. It's said that Phantoon can only exist in... Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Because here, we're actually up top of where we were before. We could usually see this from down below, and this is the elevator that's blocked off. Down there is where we fought our very first of the... You can see the door in the lower right. Very first of the power bomb creatures. And this is the whole reason we're here.
Thanks for telling me all this. I've got to destroy the Metroids and MB in Sector 0. You have to remain hidden.
No! Samus!
Don't worry. The Galactic Federation CO who's here now will help you.
Self-destruction protocol activated. Please evacuate the facility immediately.
And what would a Metroid game be without an escape sequence? Oh man, they got the music playing too. You don't even have your frickin' suit on for this, man. You just run. Zero suit Samus up in here. Could she have put her suit back on? I'm sure she could have. I'm also sure she's confident enough in her butt-whooping skills to be able to just sprint to the end, because the crap, man. I don't need your crap, I got this. I'm frickin' Samus Aran. You see that, 20-foot ledge I just jumped off of? I'm Samus Aran, I don't got time for your elevators. Oh, spacebar. You do have a stun gun that you had in Metroid Fusion. Up. So keep on moving. Oh, it locks behind me. They do not want me going anywhere. You see that 30-foot fall I just made? And I'm just keep on running. I'm freaking Samus Aran. What you got? Man, this music is great. I'm alright with this. Now, you can make a lot of these by sliding, but you can't make all of them. You can, however, charge up your blaster. Because if you shoot the door once... If you shoot the door once, you'll see it move a little bit, and you can charge up your shot then. You can also fall down there and eat a lot of time. So, like, you see him move a little bit there, and then you charge up your shot, and it opens for a second. Shut up. Ah, fire. 3 minutes is more than enough time. Up all y'all space pirates, I go where I want. Man, I like this game, though. Look at that. They gave us an escape sequence. They gave us a fight with frickin' Phantoon. I get to run around and do crap. I like this game, guys.
Sorry for keeping you waiting, Adam. Let's go home.
Heck yeah.
Perfect. Congratulations.
Now there is one last thing I'd like to show you. Doing that takes you back to the title screen. And once you beat the game, Theater Mode and Gallery Mode are both unlocked. Theater Mode lets you watch through all the cutscenes in the game, and once you beat Phantoon, it even unlocks the couple cutscenes at the very end. Not only is there Theater Mode, there is also Gallery Mode, whatever, where you get to see a whole lot of concept art for the game. And some of this is really neat stuff. I think some of these are unlocked simply for beating the regular story of the game. And then some of them are unlocked for item completion %. So you won't get all of them if you don't have 100%. And I think some of them you even have to, such as the end page here. I believe you even have to have beaten Phantoon in order to unlock. Or maybe it's just 100%. I don't know. Maybe they're all unlocked via item completion %, but you have to beat the game in order to unlock the mode as a whole, so they probably don't give you anything, and then when you beat the game, it goes, hey, you beat the game, you've got 60% of the items, here's 60% of the thing. But I wanted to show you some of these. Because for one, I really like the art style that they used in this, the little more anime-like art style. And I like that they even showed different emotions and things for the various characters. Like, I like the way Samus looks here. She doesn't look like a supermodel or anything. Like, she looks serious. She's gonna wreck some face. Adam Malkovich, who he just looks kind of scruffy and rough on the right, and I don't know, I kind of like it. Good old Anthony. And him standing there with Samus. I think that's Ian, who they mentioned. But one thing you'll notice, though, is, especially with the 2D stuff, they put a lot of emotion and personality into these, and to be honest, I think if the actual characters in the game had as much personality, had half as much personality as these still images of the characters would mean a lot more to us. Like, that there is our deleter guy whose name escapes me. Like, you can tell by looking at him. You know so much about him just by looking at him there. And then we've got KG here. I think some of it as well is, since they were always wearing their helmets, all you ever saw was their face, which took a lot away from how memorable the characters were. Like, honestly, I can't tell the difference between these two characters in-game, but here, they're so completely different. Like, I think this guy was the first guy to die. No, I think this guy was the guy with the bug phobia, and I think this guy was the guy who was killed in the ice area. Maybe. I don't know. But, like, even down here, even you look at, like, Madeline Bergman, you see her, like, the portraits on the right, and you see how much personality she has, even here. And then frickin' MB. Which, like, I couldn't help but think the entire time that whole ending was running that, like, we were so surprised when she started to act, like, sort of evil. You recreated Mother Brain! What do you think? And you get, like, that officer guy at the end. You get that frickin' scientist who needs to be punched and probably thrown in jail. You get some of the enemies, like the bull, and you even get some funny stuff, like that picture in the lower left of it exploding and Samus just going, "Wah!" Like the waver, and like in the lower right, this thing just hitting Samus and dank. Like, I think if the whole game had as much personality, maybe not quite the humor of dink, but if the whole game had this much personality, man. But I'm going to take a moment and show off all of these. I'm not going to stay on them for very long because there's a lot of them. But these guys, I thought these were mechanical. Turns out they're actually living things. Got them weird dogs. Got the fire gamers. Got that thing that can eat Samus. Things got a little more serious here, where they're doing more regular, like, room layouts, and Samus just waving at the thing in the lower right. Such is the folly of things, though, that you'll perhaps have plans early on in the project that just never quite come through in the end. I'm guessing those were like the scientists during some of the flashbacks. He's the guy who later on you see a variant of with the spikes. This guy. Or is it even the same guy? It may be the same enemy, even. Got the chameleon guy there. Oh, that's the electric guy. Some of the power-ups in this game were a little weird, because you couldn't immediately tell what a lot of them were. Like, this was an energy tank. Missile expansion. But, like, for the most part, they're just kind of different colored tubes. This was an Excel charge, I believe. I think this was an E-recovery tank. And then, I don't remember what this one was. Like, I'd say an Excel charge, but I'm pretty sure that was the Excel charge. Or maybe this was the Excel charge and this was an energy part. That's actually what I think was the case. Got that box things were in. Got flashback Samus, where she's a little bit younger. And like, I don't know, I just think the picture looks really nice. I think it looks neat for her. Got the suit they were all wearing. The guns and various weaponry. I think that was the ice gun that they used. That would be the plasma rifle. That'd be the ship Adam's crew landed in. That was the ship that they were piloting during the flashback that was driving this that blew up to kill Ian. This, I think that was where Adam and everybody was stationed at the time. Got the Brug mass. Look at him flailing his arms. Tree guy. Oh, those were the two worms that you had to fight in that one bit. Yeah, the big, ugly-looking boss of the volcano area. Look how technical this drawing is, though, compared to all the other ones. Like, that's a technical illustration, whereas everything else is just kind of like goofy sketches, almost. Oh, nightmare. That was the room that Ridley was in when he was a nub. That was the room before you fought the queen key hunter thing, whatever. I don't know. Got a shot of Samus. I don't like that they've kind of been toning down the size of her shoulder pads over time. Like, I don't know, I like it when they're just, like, unnecessarily large. I also don't like the legs in the Other M portrayal of her, because they're a lot more slender and look more like, well, like actual legs, so to say. And I like how even in Metroid Prime, like, the orange part looked like plating on the side, and, like, kind of stuck up some, and then, like, I like how the lower legs had those big, like, things sticking out of either side of the calf muscle. I've always liked this design for Samus's ship, though. Like, I think they've redesigned her ship for almost every game, almost every Metroid game, but I've always really liked that design. Good old Mother Brain. Got them Zebisians. The Mecha Zebisians. Power Bomb Duders. Terrifying Ridley. Like, he becomes more terrifying, but that's the one that's nightmare-inducing. When he shedded his second skin, and then Ridley proper. And then, like, how he was looking after he got killed by the Queen Metroid. And then this is the one that you unlock after beating the game, or perhaps after getting 100% completion, because even at 99% I didn't have this entire page. But that's a couple panels, like storyboard panels for the final cutscene. Look at that picture between Samus and Ian. Kind of how, I suppose that's sort of how Samus moves and maneuvers during that ending sequence. That's Samus's stun gun. Look at that little bump, Samus! Look at it! Look how big her eyes are! Got more of a teenage Samus there when she was still in the military. And then adult Samus that we saw in the end of the game. That is an interesting take on Phantoon. One theory is, or one running idea, and I think the idea was established by this game, is that Phantoon was a kind of an extra-dimensional being that can then move between dimensions, and only part of him can be brought into our dimension at any given time. And when we fought him, both in here and in Super Metroid, that was just his head that had been brought into our dimension. I assume his body... I don't know if his body's supposed to be the big black mass, or if that's just otherworldly. And I think that's gearing up for the final area. Got Metroids. Maybe that was the entrance to Sector 0. The place where he fought the Queen Metroid and the Queen Metroid itself. So this has been Let's Play Metroid Other M. I said before, but I really enjoy this game. I love this game. I know it's got problems, and a lot of people complain about a lot of the problems, but it doesn't stop me from loving this game, and it doesn't stop me from really enjoying this game, and so many things in this game that they did. And to be honest, after playing through it this time, after this Let's Play, I love this game even more than before. Maybe it's just the familiarity with what I know. I think some of it's certainly due to what some of the people in the comments have told me about this game. But I just really like this game, and I like this game even more so now. I think it's a shame that it's got the reputation that it does, because I think it'd be really cool if I could share this affection with a lot more other people. But I hope throughout the course of this Let's Play I've perhaps removed some of the ire and misunderstanding some people have, and hopefully maybe I've shared some of that love with all of you. Until next time, everyone, when we play something new.